transition to a larger crowd, because each one of you is going to teach at least a few hundred people. I think the engineering graduates in this college is over 1,000 per year, I believe. Right? Each one of you is going to transfer that knowledge and make an impact in the lives of so many people. So it's going to multiply in a large way. So that way, a program like this is very, very important and significant, and I'm very, very happy to see a program like this. So with that, I also congratulate all the participants who registered for this program and wish you all the best. Great learning. Learning is a lifelong exercise, and so wish you all the best for, I think it's a 3-day program. So learn as much as possible, and more importantly, apply what you learn. That's something I always say when I send anybody in my organization for a training. You learn 10 things. If you pick one thing out of it and apply it in your life, that's where the real value of that learning is. Otherwise, it doesn't. And as a matter of fact, I am not a believer in courses, trainings, certificates, certifications, nothing. Right? I have in my life, I've never looked back any of my certificates. I don't really value them. What I value is what we learn and how we use it in our life. If you are able to even take 5% of what you learn over the next 3 days and start applying it in your day-to-day life, and start helping some of your students to use it in their day-to-day life, and start applying it to transform and make your institute more innovative and technology oriented, that is where the real impact would be of a program like this. With that, I wish you again all the best and thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. It is now my privilege to invite our respected President, Shri Gundappa Gowda, to share his thoughts with us.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಅಖಂಡ ಮಂಡಲಾಕಾರಂ ಯಾಪ್ತಜ್ಜರಾಜರಂ ತತ್ಪದಂ ದರ್ಶಿತವೇನ ತಸ್ಮೈ
ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಂತ ಅದೇ ಟೀನೋ ಕಾಫಿನೋ ಏನೋ ಕೊಡಿ.
ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾದ ಕಾರ್ತಿಕೇಯನ್ ಅವರೇ, ವಿಭಾಗದ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆದಿತ್ಯ ಅವರೇ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ವಿಜಯ್ ಅವರೇ, ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಭಾಗದ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥರೇ, ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕರೇ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರೇ, ವಿದ್ಯಾವರ್ಧಕ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ 1949ರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸಲಾಯಿತು. ಇದನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದವರು ಕೆ ಪುಟ್ಟಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಅವರು ಮತ್ತು ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಚೆನ್ನೈನವರು, ಅವರ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು. ಚಿಕ್ಕೋಡಿನ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಕಾಲೇಜನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸಿ ಈಗ 28 ವರ್ಷ. ನಾವು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕೇವಲ 4 ವರ್ಷ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾಡೋದು, 240 ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು. ಈಗ ಈ ಸಾರಿ 1540 ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಪ್ರವೇಶವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈಗ 7 ವಿಭಾಗವಾಗಿ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಕಾರಣ, ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾಸಂಸ್ಥೆ 10 ಅಂಗಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿದೆ. 2 ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲು, 2 PG ಕಾಲೇಜು, ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಕಾಲೇಜು, ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮಾ ಕಾಲೇಜು, ITI, ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಕಾಲೇಜು, MTech, MBA, MCA ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲೇಜು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡೀಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಆಡಳಿತ ಮಂಡಳಿ, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮುಖ್ಯ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸ. ನಾವೇನೇ ನಾವು ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಬಾರ್ಬಲಿ ಆಗ್ತೀವಿ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸೋಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವರು ಆಯಾ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಕೃತಕ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ಇಂದು ಮಾನವನ ಜೀವನದ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವನ್ನು ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ಮಹತ್ವದ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನವಾಗಿದೆ. ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಸೇವೆ, ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ, ಸಾರಿಗೆ, ಕೃಷಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ AI ನಿಖರತೆ, ವೇಗ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ಷಮತೆಯನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸುವಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಪಾತ್ರವಿದೆ. ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದ ದತ್ತಾಂಶವನ್ನು ವಿಶ್ಲೇಷಿಸಿ ಸೂಕ್ತ ನಿರ್ಧಾರವನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳುವ ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯ AIಗೆ ಇರುವುದರಿಂದ ಅದು ಮಾನವನ ಸಹಾಯಕ ಶಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತಿದೆ. ಅಂದರೆ AI ಬಳಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗೌಪ್ಯತೆ, ನೈತಿಕತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸುರಕ್ಷತೆಯ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ಜಾಗರೂಕತೆಯಿಂದ ಪಾಲಿಸಬೇಕು. ಸಮರ್ಥವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯುತವಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತದೆ. AI ಭವಿಷ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಾಜದ ಪ್ರಗತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾನವ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣಕ್ಕೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಾಧನವಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸುವ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮೌಲ್ಯಾಧಾರಿತ ಕಲಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗಲಿ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಈ ಒಂದು 3 ದಿನ ಕಾಲ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಏನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ತಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ಗ್ರಹಿಸ್ತೀರಿ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ತಾವು ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೀಲಿ ಹಾರೈಸಿ ನಾನು 2 ಮಾತು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Very warm and heartfelt thank to everyone present here today. Before we say thank you, let me say something about Vani scheme. Vani is basically a vibrant advocacy for advancement and nurturing of Indian languages. This scheme is one of the remarkable initiative by AICTE Atal, aimed at promoting Indian regional languages and ensuring that technology reaches everyone by overcoming language barriers. We are proud to share that our institution is the only institution in the Mysuru region who received the funding under this prestigious Vani scheme. Originally this event we planned in the September, but we purposefully moved this event to the November so that we could celebrate Kannada Rajyotsav with a greater meaning by organizing this significant event. Today we had the privilege of inaugurating this event with a great enthusiasm. So I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to our Honorable President Shri Gundappa Gowda for gracing this today's occasion with his esteemed presence. Thank you very much, sir. Also, I would like to thank our chief guest, Mr. Karthigeyan, CEO and founder of Logycent, for joining us and inspiring us with his presence and thoughts. Thank you, sir. And also, I would like to thank our Secretary, Engineer Vishwanath, Secretary VVS, also is the first mayor of Mysuru City Corporation, for his constant encouragement and unwavering support in his absence. Thank you, sir. And also, I would like to thank our beloved principal, Dr. Sadashive for his continuous motivation and support in taking up and executing such initiatives successfully. We thank you in his absence. Thank you, sir. And also, I would like to thank our HOD and the event coordinator, Dr. Aditya CR, for his dedication and committed effort in getting this proposal sanctioned and bringing this event to life. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank all the deans and heads of the various departments of VVCE, and also I would like to thank all our faculty members and staffs of Department of CSCAML for their cooperation and support throughout this event. And also I would like to thank Director of AICTE Atal for granting us the opportunity to organize such a meaningful and impactful workshop under the Vani scheme, promoting this initiative. Once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks to each one of you for your presence and support. Wishing you all happy learning and wonderful experience ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. And I also extend my thanks to Dr. Vijay CP, Associate Professor and Co-Coordinator for this event. With this, we conclude the inaugural ceremony. Thank you all for your gracious presence. We look forward to 3 insightful days of learning and transformation through this AI and Data Science Masterclass. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. So, on behalf of Department of CSE AIML, I welcome you all to the day 1 of AI and Data Science Masterclass, Tools, Trends and Transformation. So now I welcome today's resource person, Mr. Karthigeyan, founder and CEO of Logycent, to take over the session on trends in AI. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Everyone, in the last row. So welcome you all once again. Have a good learning session over the next 3 days. Before we get started, let me get a quick view of, I want to just understand the audience profile. How many of you are faculty? Okay. Okay, fine. And how many of you are like research scholars and yeah, okay. Any UG students? PG students? Yes, okay, a good number. Now the next part is how many of you are from computer science, AML background? Branches, CS, CSIS, any of them? Okay, that's the last. Right? Anyone from any other department, electronics or electrical? None. Mechanical? None. Okay. I can see some hands go. I'm not sure which branch they belong to. But anyway, we'll get started. I think this is supposed to be a 1 hour to 15 minute session. I'm not getting into any very specific things of doing anything hands-on. Right? I've been asked to give a overview about the trends, which I'll talk about today, the trends in artificial intelligence. To the best of my knowledge. Now, the other thing is, how many of you are a PhD here? Okay, and that makes me comfortable. I'm always like afraid of PhDs from my colleges. Maybe for reasons in my college. So whenever I get into any academic institute, that's one thing which makes me nervous. Last time I was in I gave a session in MA, JC, and I was surprised that everybody in the stage except me was a doctor, and half of the audience was also PhD, and I was very nervous. So today, hopefully, it's not that bad. Okay. So before we get started, when we talk about AI, what comes to your mind? What are those top things which you relate to in your daily life? I do want the session to be a little interactive. I hope it's fine. So some of you can say in your view, in your day, in your life, what AI means and how do you use it? How is it part of your daily life? Any views, comments? Come on, sir. Morning, women had your snacks. You have some more energy to talk. Exactly replicate humans. Okay, okay. Yeah. Now, yeah, good. That's definitely a good definition and accurate. I think that's good. Anything else? Any other comments? Any views? How many of you think like you use AI in your life every day? Right? Majority of that's way many of us are accepting that today. How do you use it? Can you give some example? Is there a way where it is ChatGPT? Alexa, right? Gemini. Incidentally, like I think we are in the end of November, 30th of November 2022 is when ChatGPT came in. Right? It's like the 3 years of the impact of large scale impact of AI what we have seen. So now we talked about ChatGPT. Can some of you tell like how ChatGPT makes some impact or difference in your life or for what you use it? Some examples. Some examples. I'm sure all of you use it, right? Don't use it to write your assignments. Right? Those kind of things are I'm not a fan of. How do you use it? Give some examples.
Image generation.
Image analysis. Very good. Analyze what? Give a real example of saying, okay, instead of me doing something like this, now with ChatGPT, I'm able to do it like this, and as a result of it, I have ABC benefits. Right? Can someone give one example like that? Building a web application. Very good. Very, very good. Yes. Anything else like that? Any other ways you use it? Instant answer. Yes. Very good. Right? That is good. So now the next question, outside of ChatGPT, is there anything else comes to your mind on AI? Is there anything else you use? ChatGPT is so very common. Now, yeah. Anything else? Siri. Alexa. Okay. What else?
Rap.
Sorry?
Rap.
What is it?
Rap.
Rap. What is
Rap.
it?
W-R-A-P.
Rap. Okay. Good. So these are something what you are already using in your day-to-day life, knowingly, unknowingly, and so on. I will also give you a broad perspective of I've taken some initiatives in our organization, deploying AI tools and making it used and make us more effective, productive, and all of that. Right? Now, in that exercise, I also realized and learned one very important thing. So I realized that people use AI tools can be broadly classified into two categories. Right? There is the first category of people. How and why they use AI tools is just to make themselves more lazy. Right? Now, some of you gave this example of I asked you how many of you used writing your assignments, right? I will put all of that into this category. Like it or not, that's a fact. Now, there is a second category of people who really use AI tools to make them more effective. Right? It's applicable everywhere. With every technology evolution, right? This is applicable. Now, I see that there is a large volume of young population today. It's the same thing like YouTube. You take YouTube for example. YouTube as well. There is something called shorts, this, that, and other things in YouTube. I'm not familiar with that part of it. But I know like a lot of youngsters today are like addicted to it. Amount of time, including my own kids, I keep holding them for every now and then for that purpose. But that is just to either to satisfy your laziness or to just give you that fun or some kind of satisfaction, happiness using tools like take YouTube or take ChatGPT or any AI tool. That's one category. That's also required probably, but do not stop the utilization of these technologies to that. Now, what's important is how you take the technology and use it to make yourself more effective, more productive, more accurate. Is the real value of using AI in your life. So the collaboration of AI and human is what will make the direction for the next 20 years. How effectively you are able to integrate that into your daily life and use it is what would make a lot of difference. Right? So with that, today when you talk about this trends in artificial intelligence, there are so many things happening in that space and area. It's very, very hard and vast topic. I was thinking through and I put together 3 broad trends I would touch upon today, give you a direction of what those 3 broad trends I see and how they are relatable to us and usable to us is what we will try and cover. So with that, the first and foremost, most important trend is, I would say, AI as a workforce multiplier. What does it mean? Any ideas? Anybody has an idea what does it mean when I say AI as a workforce multiplier? Does it give you any thought? AI as a workforce multiplier. What does it mean? Yeah.
The work of many can be done through single.
Yeah. But one way to look at it, you're right. Technically, you're right. The other way to look at it is, for me, always I look at everything from the perspective of impact on me and how it is, right? Now, a good way to look at this, see, when you start talking about, oh, AI can do 10 people's job in one AI, it's a very kind of, it starts giving a lot of negative thoughts, right? It takes away so many jobs and other things. That's not the case. Now, rather, the way I look at it is like, how AI makes you so much more productive. I'll give you some examples of it. What does it mean and how I do that. Right? Now, like part of my business, I want to hire a new person for a particular role. Right? Traditionally, how it would happen is even if I call the college and say like I'm trying to hire some freshers from this thing. So what is the college going to ask me first thing? So they will tell like, can you give a job description which we can take and circulate to our students and see who is interested. We'll organize for a campus. Right? Now, how preparing the job description is probably like half an hour, 45 minutes task, which I may not want to do myself. I delegate to somebody, and then someone does. I review it, I do that, and then we finalize that, and then we circulate it to the college or the recruiter, wherever it is. Right? So this is what used to happen. But now, today, the job description I will have 2 iterations with either Gemini or GPTs, and I have my own personal accounts. It knows my background. It knows all the history, everything. So if I go and say like, last year we prepared a job description for this, can you fetch me that job description? It will fetch that. It will get me that. It will have my company name, and I fed all this information to this, right? It knows who I am on my login. It always addresses me as Karthi. And when I say like prepare a job description, it will prepare a job description for Logycent, which is my company, right? So all of this happens so very quickly. So that is the impact of today. It frees me up from, instead of me spending 30-40 minutes on doing something, I could get that done in 5 minutes. That's the real workforce multiplier. Each one of you is what you are doing until now. After this 2-3 day program, if you could pick up a couple of tools and elements which can make things, help you do your own job much more faster, much more accurate, that's the real value what you create, and that is how you have to grow and become better in life. That is the first and foremost thing what I talk about, which is A as a workforce multiplier. Now, can some of you tell, like I told you an example, right? For writing job descriptions, I use ChatGPT or Gemini. I'm switching more towards Gemini nowadays because it's much better. But can some of you share some use cases or examples where you could use it better? Do you use tools like this, Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, any of them? Sorry? Sorry? Yeah. What do you use it for? Presentation preparation, right? Presentation, I think, Gamma, right? Gamma, there is another very good thing called Ghost. Ghost that I know you could go and check. Now, I can also quickly show you that. So, for example, let me try and bring this point. Like I said, like this Gamma, Ghost, those things help you do it in a very iterative way. You see here, right? There's an example. So I asked it, like, create a title slide or a presentation on this topic and so on. I don't have to worry about changing the color, changing the font size, making it big for the title, small for the next subheading, or any of that. Right? So you can see on the right side, there is a short description I've given. Create a title slide for my presentation at VVCE College, Mysuru, with the title Trends in Artificial Intelligence, use data science and other things, right? Then it does this. This is what I mean by the A as a workforce multiplier, where we see a lot of real world use cases. Now, the other interesting thing is brainstorming. How many of you do brainstorming with, say, ChatGPT, Gemini, and any of this? It's a great way to do it. So today, if I'm giving this presentation, I will give a lot of credit to Gemini and ChatGPT, right? For the simple reason, yesterday I realized I have to do this presentation today, and of course, like when I have to do this presentation, there are so many thoughts, right? It's a very wide topic, a lot of things are happening, and I have some broad thoughts on what I want to do. So I spent around 25 minutes interacting with it. I shared these are some points I wanted to talk about. What are your views? It gives me some reference articles and information and everything. And then I say, no, I don't want to talk about this. It's not so relevant. I want to talk about this. And have a little interaction with those. Then I have the clarity of the thought and the pointers on what is that I want to present here. Right? And I could do that in like 20-30 minutes. So what's the key thing here is, it's for you, it's up to you, choose which of my activities I want to leverage and utilize AI tools, which will enable me to do the same activity far more effectively and productively. So you have to look at in your daily life, your daily work, with your students in your studies and academic and other things. How can you integrate and bring that? Right? That is what will make a significant and huge impact in your life. The other very common thing is like data collection and summarization, comparisons, and things like that. Right? Let's say like you want to buy a mobile phone. What do you do? Can someone tell me what do you do if you want to buy a mobile phone? Compare brands, models, sorry, specifications, reviews, right? I'll give you a quick example. So we are in the electronics industry, right? Bulk of our team are electronics engineers. So when we design products, so we design like this kind of, say, this remote, some parts of the mobile phone, and I want the software update to be available at least for 4 to 5 years period, so that my phone is stable and so on. And my budget is, say, 50,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees, whatever it is. Could you get me options and give me a comparison? Okay. Any of you tried anything like this with ChatGPT? So instantly you will get like a nice table with all of these comparisons and other things. Then you can do a couple of more interactions, suggest such changes to it, other things. It makes difference, right? Now what typically would have taken days to do this, you could get it done in few hours, less than hours, right? And maybe in minutes. So that way there are And how we do this, we use it in our organization for component selection. So we have a customized model which we have created and done, which specifically looks and gets electronic components. When we say like, any of you have electronic background, no, right? So they want to select, there is something called analog to digital converter. If I want to select an analog to digital converter, I give a bunch of specifications and it gives me all the options based on the specifications determine what I have defined. And tells me what are the pros and cons on each of that. Then I look at that further and then we make the decision. Again, it takes to the same point of what we were spending maybe 1 to 2 days. We get to the decision much faster. The decision making is much faster because the data collection, summarization is far more faster and effective. Another very common topic is research. Any kind of research and study we want to do, it's far effective to use it in your maybe for primarily the secondary research part, not the primary research part, but the secondary research part. And that is another area where we use it very often. Now, so here, I think all of you are engineers, right? All of you are engineering background, am I right? So, how many of you are non-engineering? Okay, that's good to know. I never asked this. So, what background? MCA. I mean, opposite of you. Any other thing? No, okay, fine. So, I think I would slightly tweak and talk about. So, majority of your computer science background, right? So, today, if you look at in the software development space, there are significant changes, and one of the areas which is most impacted by the AI technology is software development. It was a big surprise for me personally. I never expected that to happen. Somebody asked me 5 years ago, I will say software is so impacted, but so big surprise, software is so much impacted. So I will give you a couple of examples around this. See, 3 to 4 years back, when we are doing any project, software project, we actually get started from scratch. We create a project, we create code base, start building things, pulling things from different places. Today, for many of the cases, the starting point is what we call typically what we call the boilerplate code, which is the beginning of, if you have a broad requirement, you want to have code to do the functionality lessons, you get started. Today, the boilerplate code is generally generated by a collection of AI tools. Now, how many of you use Cursor? Cursor.ai. If you are, all of us have software background, right? Now, Cursor, you can go and search and find these things. Cursor is it's actually an IDE. VS Code you are familiar, right? Eclipse, you know. So it's an equivalent for that. So it is actually a derivative of VS Code. You won't have to think Cursor. They will do that. They will fetch and find which file has the file, which portion of the code has this information. And you can as well ask it to change. So let's say you have implemented a particular functionality, now you want to change that functionality and make those changes. Now you give that instruction, it will suggest you where and how you have to make changes to the code and show you that. Then you can accept it, or you can say no, there is further changes required, or you manually go and make those changes and do all of that. So these are few tools which make very significant impacts in the coding and software development space and area. And the other area around software development where these tools are very effectively used is in testing, test case generation. Now, I have written a code. Now, I need to test it. So, unit testing you are familiar with? Yes, right? Trying to generate unit test cases. Now, unit test case generation is predominantly done by these tools. We just give it to the tool, create unit test for this 2 files, it will create. We review that and just accept and finalize or there are some things changes required to use it. If you look at the software development space, that is primarily where it is significantly moved and changed. And the other part is user interface development. Right? You all understand user interface development. Traditionally, if you look at how user interface development happens, there is an end user, and then there is someone who is like a product expert or product owner for this application of to build. So the end user actually picks up what user requirements are and puts together and defines something. Then we have something called a UX designer who will come and understand what the user requirements are. Then the UX designer creates like graphics layout. It's typically used to be done in tools like Adobe XD. One of the popular tools, there is the wireframes, other things are created. Then this is shown back to the product owner, shown back to the end user, collect some feedback, refine and finalize it. Now, this traditional process used to have two broad problems. One is it is very lengthy, time consuming first, and two, there are so many people involved. Okay. Now, every time when there is a communication from A to B, there is some information which is lost or some information which is understood in a different way. So the cycle time of getting user interface done used to be much longer for all these reasons. Today, I'll give you a real example of a project what we just did 6 months ago. We had the complete user interface. We have not done any wireframes. We have not done any of this. We got the user interface done and finalized in 1 week, which traditionally would have taken us at least 2 to 3 months in the conventional way. How it is because the number of interactions and the communication happening with so many people is reduced. And the second broad thing is you all learn to develop software in programming languages, right? Which programming languages you are all familiar with? Python. I don't consider Python a programming language. Java, all of it. What do you think is a programming language which has the bright future? Python, Java, anything else? C. Oldest. Now you will be surprised. The future is not going to be dependent on who is good at programming language. 10 years ago, someone is very, very good in Java fundamentals. 15 years ago, they were highly valued. Right? Today, is programming language highly valued? Still no. Anyone and everyone can build a software as long as they have the clarity of thought, and as long as they are able to describe what they need in a very simple and clean way. So probably English is going to be the language which dominates how software development is done effectively. And that's the reality. Now, how we did that, right? What I said, that 2 weeks, what have you done? We again use cursor. And the person who has no, I wouldn't say no, but almost negligible software experience or background, but who knows what the end user needs, the product owner. We given him cursor to him and given a framework. Say like this is the high level thing what we have built. Now whatever you want to change, add, modify, you just type and tell what you need. I need an additional button with this heading. I need an additional page with this title and this information. You just put that into that. Okay. So he put all those information into that, and accordingly it started modifying, making and all that. It's still not a functional application. Understand? It does not build a functional application. But it has created a complete UI flow of what the end user needs. He created it himself. No software engineer was involved in this process. After he created this complete user interface, he came and explained, this is the user interface what I have done. These are all the relations between this. These are all the functionalities what we finally need. Then we picked up and had software engineers who built all of them, built the integration and all of that and completed the application. Now this application has gone live in around 4 months time. Okay, we finalized the UI in 2 to 3 weeks time. Now traditionally, this application would have taken at least 9 to 10 months before it has gone live for production. Now that is the workforce multiplier impact what we are talking about at an individual level, at an organization or project level, what would happen. Now how are you able to pick those right things and do it is what matters. On a relevant note, any of you have tried Lovable? Yes? Or do? Can you tell what it is? What it is? What does it do? It builds web application. You can deploy it now, right? I'll show you an example. So just for you to show, I have done this. Where is this?
ಸರ್ ಇದು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್
Okay. I don't want to write. So you look at this. So I have given an instruction to Lovable. Create a website for Vidyavardhaka College of Engineering, Mysuru. And I have told like go and look at the current website. And some good references are like IIT Madras, RV College of Engineering. I just gave some random couple of other examples. Say like those are good examples and reference website. Look at that. Do the research and create a website for Vidyavardhaka College of Engineering. Right? You look what it has created. It's created a website. It's added a title line, tagline, explore programs, how many using. I don't know whether this is tag comes. It has to be replaced. But VVCE by numbers, years of excellence, everything, it is done by Lovable, and this can be taken and deployed. That's the magnitude of work it is able to do today. And trust me, if the college wants to create like get a website done like this, they go to a digital marketing company, explain what the college is, what is the background, this, that, and other things. It will take at least 2 months before you can get a website up and running. Now, someone in the college who knows the college very well, but doesn't know how to build a website, doesn't have the software background, can still integrate with a tool like this and build a website. And it's not just website. If tomorrow you want to start an e-commerce shop, you want to sell shoes, sell dresses, you ask it to create an e-commerce site and say like I want to sell shoes and with so many categories and put filters for this, that, and other things and all, it will do that. I still put a star mark on this. These are still not so production ready except for small things like websites and all. We are building applications, real applications. They are not production ready, but they are great tools to start prototyping, building something very quickly. Right? Now I don't have to know programming language. I don't have to know HTML. I don't have to know CSS. None of this. Right? If I can define what I need in the web application, it does that for me. So, but learning how to use all of this is important. You need to iterate. See, look at the information what you give is also very, very important. I have given it like it's a college, and I have given some reference alternate college websites as good examples to refer to. You can as well give bad examples and say, I don't want it to be that way. It looks at all those information. It looks at the website, it searches. It took around 20 minutes to create the website after I have given a bunch of instructions. So that's the other thing. That if you guys are not using tools like this, you should. Okay, you should start using that. You are time for 45 minutes.
Yes.
That's on this part of the software piece. So we talked a lot about, since you're all from computer science background, I did cover that piece earlier. Right now we look at like examples like outside of computer science, software engineering and all that. So manufacturing is another place where a lot of impact is on AI and it makes big impact. And one of the major spaces under the manufacturing is quality control. Vision-based systems, I know some of you talked about image analysis and all of that. Vision-based systems are playing very significant role in quality control. So to give you for example, I think I have it here. Say like BMW, when they make cars in their paint shops, so their paint shops are like highly automated, it's robotic-based painting. Then the inspection of all those painted parts, identifying scratches, identifying any abnormalities in the painting, is all fully automated. So camera-based systems, it's all a bunch of cameras, takes images, videos, analyzes it, then identifies where there is a problem and says, okay, this component is rejected, it doesn't meet the quality standard. When someone looks at it and gets it repaired or reworked, that's a place where the human intervention comes in. So vision systems make a lot of use case. And if I talk about examples of like my own industry, electronics, if you look at, any of you have seen circuit boards, electronic circuit boards, the green color boards you have seen, right? So typically when we have these electronic circuit boards are manufactured, with the laptop circuit board if you take, it will at least have around 400 components assembled on it. Okay. And when they manufacture it, there is always a possibility of one component is missing out of this 400 or one component orientation is wrong. All of this happens in the manufacturing process. So the quality control checks all of this. Now this process and systems, if you look at it, is all completely automated today in most cases, like companies like Foxconn. Foxconn, you all know. Foxconn is the manufacturer of iPhones, right? Well, Apple owns it. Foxconn is one of the largest consumer electronics manufacturing companies. They do have a plant in Bangalore, it's a China-based company, and all of that. So they use extensively to do, because you imagine they manufacture these boards in millions, right? Their per day volume will be like tens of thousands. How do you check so many boards and each board has 500 components? Imagine is it possible to do it manually? It's possible to do, but the amount of time it takes is phenomenal. So again, examples of how AI makes impact as a workforce multiplier in specific areas and sections. Right? So that's on this. Okay, that's it. Other thing, like outside of this high-end tech space, there are again places where it is used effectively. For example, JP Morgan recently, JP Morgan is a US-based finance company, so they are in a large bank called Chase Bank, one large bank in US. Okay. So what they have done is they have built what is called an AI-based coin system, they call it, contract evaluation analysis system. So what it does is its ability to, because contracts are all documents, right? A whole bunch of documents. So the legal and the advocate space itself is significantly transformed with AI. So there are certain contracts that run in like hundreds of pages, and it will have references to another contract which runs into tens of thousands of pages. Large, I'm talking about large cross-continental and corporate contracts and all of them. Okay. They were able to get, they've announced about this, one of their contract, which was around 12,000 pages. Okay. They were able to get that done in like few hours, which with the human intervention, their estimate was it would have taken around 300,000 hours, which means 300,000 hours is like 150 man years, 150 people working for 1 year, equivalent. You could get it done in a few hours. So that's the kind of impact and magnitude it has. If we also look at examples of, it's there in healthcare space as well. Like in healthcare also is used in some places. And another area and space where it's heavily used is customer support, the call centers. You also would experience it. If you call a call center today, more often the first level, earlier it used to be very frustrating, right? You press 1, press 2 to go to your specific category and all. Now it's a conversational agent, which you just say what you want, it connects you to the right department, category, whatever it is. Right? But again, impact an area where the application is significant. Okay, so that's the end of my first theme or trend, AI as a workforce multiplier. I will take a pause. If you have any questions, any comments, and I am also interested to hear your views on how do you see this trend in your work, daily life, or in your career. Anyone? No comments? No questions? Come on, say something. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm talking. Do you guys have a view on this? Do you, on this trend, do you see some of that relevant to you in your life and way of doing things? Yes? Any examples? If you share one example, that is going to be useful for the rest of the 40 odd people in the room as well. So you are essentially helping people around you. Anyone? There is no punishment for anyone saying anything wrong. There is nothing wrong as such. No? Yes, sir.
Sir, thank you. And
I'm not able to hear.
Yes, the question is that when people on this AI tools for manufacturing or testing or coding, to what extent it is reliable?
Very, very good question. It has its own limitations. No doubt about it. And that is the very reason we are required. That is the very reason human is required. And that is the very reason when you heard what I said. It's the human AI collaboration which will make the difference. Not AI as a standalone. At many places and many conditions, it's human intervention, oversight is still, overseeing is still required. It is fairly reliable, but what's also important is, it's important for us to understand what are those limitations of it and what are the problems it creates. So I'll also give you a recent example. One of my client companies, they built a software application. Okay. And they have their engineers, they're using this, whatever I told, right? Whether they're using, whether you give instructions, you write codes and all of that. Now, one place, whether has written a code and has given a code where there is an email ID to the code. And it has created a code with just a dummy email ID saying like, no example at email.com, something like that. Okay. Now what happened? This is what I say, like I said first, right? There is a first category of people who use AI to become lazy. Unfortunately, the engineer who worked on this is subcategory. So he took this code, he pushed it to Git, it got deployed, it got to production.
Hello.
Now there is an non-existing email ID.
Kalistunnara.
And there is a retry option
Yes,
to the
sir.
application. So the email keeps bouncing, and then it has created an IT issue and not a problem happened. Now what is the cost? The cost is this human in the there is this thing what we use this term called human in loop. We don't let AI do some of these critical tasks on its own. We should use it to improve our productivity and not just replace it. Now, if this human in loop has done his job of reviewing the code generated by the tool, this could have been completely avoided. So I think I would also, I have not explicitly put, but that's also a key message. AI as a workforce multiplier, not as a replacer, which is important. And when we start using some of these tools, we should also know and learn the limitations and implications of it. What limitations it has, what biases it has, what troubles and problems it can create. And that is really where the human element and the human intelligence complements the AI capability and makes it effective. If we completely leave it to that, we would end up with troubles and problems like one of the examples what I gave. So did I answer your question? Any other questions, anyone? No? So we'll move on to the next topic. The second and the most important trend is AI agents. Any of you have heard this term AI agent, and can someone explain what it is? I'm tired of talking. Nobody can explain and get a paid for 5 minutes. Anyone knows? Can tell what is AI agent? Yeah, go ahead. You good name? Your name is? Yes, sir. Okay. We should all give a round of applause for you. Come forward to do this.
Basically, agent we currently seeing like many models like Siri. We are seeing so many models. They are built on these models like Siri and iPhones.
Siri is iPhone.
And some other agents. These agents are built on the models built in. So basically, agents means currently in our daily life we use for our works like daily activities like making a calls, making emails, and presentations like that. They basically help like multiple. We can also have multiple agents for different works like presentations and communication. We can use them for our needs, but we are currently depending on so much of them. But actually, what we are doing is building more agents, make humans lazy because everybody.
You can blame agents for that. You have to blame also for this.
So it will go extends humans current like layoffs, employee layoffs from companies, and currently it will not be in big number, but in future days it will be like thousands, millions. So it will make big impact in the IT industry.
So I'll address the first thing I missed it. Thank you, Vishwanath. The first thing is I would actually take out that fear of heavy layoffs and all of that. Okay, I will tell you one very important message. Now, will AI take away jobs? No. Okay. Who will take away jobs? Your jobs.
Yes.
The one who knows how to use AI will take away jobs from those who don't know how to use. That's what will happen. So don't blame AI, don't blame technology. If you are lazy, if you are not learning how to adapt with it, you have to blame yourself. Not AI, not companies who lay off. That's like our culture of growing up is like that. We blame everybody else for anything. Anything happens, people will tell like 100 social media posts will be there about a road which has a pothole. And they will criticize government, criticize politicians, criticize government officials, everybody. So we call it 100 people and ask them, have you raised a complaint that this pothole is there in this road? How many of them do you think have done it? Zero. We have this, there is a problem in front of us. We have this reaction to blame someone for it. Okay. Now, a philosophy followed by all highly successful people, when there is a problem, the simplest thing is think what can I do to solve it? If I am facing a problem, what should I do to solve the problem? Right? So that's a message. Since you talked about days and layoffs, that is what I agree with you. Don't get afraid about it. Don't feel it's going to go harm to you. If you know how to use it well, then you are going to be useful and successful. If not, someone else will do it better than you, and take away your valuable. Now, in simple terms, AI agents are agents which are built to do a series of tasks on its own, right? Which will use a collection of things, it will have its own knowledge base, information, and things what it will take, and build it. Now, why is this relevant and important? This is very, very relevant and important in the field of computer science. Those of you who are studying computer science, particularly. So, all of you who study computer science, what do you think you would do? You would build applications, right? That's what you think you would do. Now, that is where this trend is very, very important. It's actually agents which are replacing applications and workflows in many, many cases. So, the future's computer science graduates and engineers would be more on building agents than building applications. Because of the simple fact that you build applications, it has a predefined set of things. Right? I will also touch upon some examples subsequently, so it helps and makes you easy to understand. But the problem is, let us take for example, you all use trains, right? Train ticket booking, IRCTC, right? Now, IRCTC is an app. Now, in that app, I should know how to book ticket. First, I should have some know. First, I would always tell it. Important, right? Most, at least like large financial organizations in the Western world are already shifting towards agents than applications. They are trying to get rid of applications, cut down applications, build agents, customize agents for these kind of use cases and applications, which makes a big impact. I will also give you an example of what we have done in our organization. Okay, example, right? So now I also want to talk about agents are of different types. Agents, as I defined, is meant to do specific tasks, specific objective, meet a specific objective, which has a series of a sequence of multiple tasks to be performed. Right? Now, we have built an IoT system for a welding company. Okay, this company does welding of oil and gas pipelines. So which are like, I think many of you have seen a few years back in Mysuru, there was this underground gas pipes were laid. Then those pipes they weld, right? These are very small pipes, but what I am talking about are pipes which are 24-inch, 48-inch pipes. And these are pipes which are laid under sea for intercontinental oil transportation. Okay. So their welding machine is there. So we are collecting data from the welding machine and analyzing it to identify if there are any problems in the weld and other things. Okay. Now we have deployed an IoT device for this. Now this device, what it does generate logs. Your software applications, you would know logging, right? So this device also keeps generating logs. The log will have information of, okay, at this time this happened, or an error happened, or there was some over voltage to observe some information in a software engineer, like you would have errors, you have warnings, your compiler throws, right? Like that. This application also keeps on generating logs. So traditionally, what happens is these logs are generated and then that is being copied, but we will have somebody go and look at, someone takes these logs, copies the log into a central place, and someone looks at the logs, then there is a problem or a issue reported. We go and look at the log to find out what has happened, why the problem happened, and all of that. Okay. So today we have built an agent. So this agent is automated multiple tasks. Number one, it automatically goes and takes the log file and transfers to a cloud database on a daily basis. No human intervention. Number two, it looks at the log file. We have given instruction and information and settings to the agent, and it looks and identifies for any of the known errors. We have defined some critical errors. If there is any of this critical error, it will immediately shoot an email to the engineer who can solve it. Right? Earlier, there were again multiple people involved. Someone is transporting the data, someone is looking at the log, someone complains about it, then someone looks at the log, then it assigns to someone who can address or resolve the problem. So now the agent does all of this, right? So which effectively makes things far, far faster and effective. So this is not, why I am giving this example is, do not just imagine agents as something which is just conversational. Like the Disha example I gave, that's a conversational agent. But agents are not just that. Agents are things meant to solve real world problems, do a sequence of tasks, fetch information from multiple sources, make decisions, and trigger actions. You can define what you want to do, This example, what I'm talking about, it has no conversational thing. Nobody interacts with it. It just does its job on a regular basis and fetches things and looks at it. Right? Similarly, we'll have a lot of such examples will be there. Now again here, what's most important is to figure out what part of your day job you can outsource it to an agent and free up your time to do more value-added work. Is the key thing what you have to know and learn. And that is the direction in which the world software industry is expected to move over the next decade from the traditional workflows and applications. We'll give you a couple of more examples in this direction. Insurance claims. Any of you have ever done insurance claim? No? I think most of you are very young. It's a painful process, both for the person claiming and for the company. Company has its own problems. There are a lot of fake claims, right claims, and all of that. Any idea typically like insurance claims, how long it will take? How long it will take? Months, weeks, depending on the category, depending on subcategory and other things. Okay. Now there is a company called Lemonade. You can go and research about this. So this is one of the advanced companies and they claim themselves to be a digital insurer. So typically in a conventional workflow, what happens is a consumer raises a claim. So you have a website or portal somewhere, you go and raise a claim, put your policy number, put the details of the claim, whatever things required. They'll ask you a bunch of documents and things to be submitted and all of that. Then there is a first level of claim assessor, someone will be there, it will get assigned to a person. The person looks at all of this and identifies, and then they will send back if there is some missing information. Goes to the client, comes back, and then they do it. And then this first level assessor will transfer it to someone else. An underwriter will be there. They will look at it, review, finally approve, and then it will go to their finance department of the insurance company. After the claim is approved, then the finance department will look for the customer's details, their bank account details, and other things. Initiate a transfer. Then the bank transfer happens, and the consumer gets the claim. Right? So this is the workflow. Now what this company has done is over for claim process. They have built an agent rules. So when you get a claim request from the client, it looks for the claim request. Does it meet all the requirements? If it meets all the requirements, it looks for certain risk assessments it has. What are the key things, flags to look for a fake claim? It looks for all of that. And then clears, so it's a genuine claim. It auto goes. And it already goes and fetches from another database the bank account details of the client. Initiates a bank transfer. Money gets credited. So they did a word record of guess how much time, what is the fastest claim they have settled? How much time it would have taken? Any guesses? Sorry? 1 day? 30 minutes? None of you are still close. 3 seconds. 3 seconds. They did a world record of. In 3 seconds they settled the claim and customers paid. Imagine the value creation what happens. Imagine the peace of mind what the consumer gets. Insurance claims, if you have done it, you know how painful a process is. Okay? Now that's what's the kind of disruption. So their agent is called Jim. JAM. Jim is the name of their agent. And you don't have a portal, right? You just go to their what and tell like this my claim, it will ask you what and all you need to submit, you submit all of that. If there is something missing, it will tell you what it is. You do it, it processes and done. So that's how it is. A similar example, this is a very easy and relatable example in a consumer market. So there's similarly in the financial institutions and banks and all, a lot of such interesting agent applications are coming in. One such thing is there is this one bank called MyBank, MYBANK. It's a Chinese bank, part of what is called Ants Group. So they do small lending, micro lending it is called. Right? It's simple, like very small value of money which is given as a loan. Now taking a loan, I think again very likely, many of you have taken a loan, even education loans, anything? No, very likely to this. I have seen how difficult it is to take a loan. Bank will ask you so much of documents, so many times this back code, and there will be so many signatures, and get tired of signing and able to do any of these things. It's not fortunate enough to be lucky that you not to do so. It's again a very painful process. Okay? So they built an agent. Again, look at that. This is not like 5 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore loans. These are very small loans. Now, which are the big banks in India? SBI, HDFC, ICICI, these are top three. Okay. Do you think any of them will give you a loan of 5,000 rupees? Yes or no?
They can give, but procedure is too long.
So their problem is very simple. The cost of processing a 5,000 rupees loan is higher than the income what they get out of the loan. It's a loss for them to give you a loan of 5,000 rupees. That's the problem. The processing charges, cost, they have hundreds of people who have to do so much of work, and the loan processing cost is so high. So they can't afford to do it. But that's where agents like this comes in picture and makes a difference. So what this bank has done is, they only give loans in this kind of small segment. People who know, who need that short term, 1 month, 3 months, small money of loan, like your daily wage laborers, street vendors, they need money for 1 month, a few thousand rupees, make a big impact to them. Right? That financial inclusion, they were able to do that with agents. Their agents processes all of this, does the risk assessment and other things, look at the history of the customer, fetches data from different sources on what is their history, have they paid back loans in the past, a lot of that based on the risk assessment, and a lot of those loans. Now imagine how long they take to give loan. I already given a this thing. Any guesses? Okay, in our banking system, how long do you think it will take to get a loan, typically? 1 month. Not that bad. You can get it in a week's time or so nowadays, depending on your profile and other things. Possible. Few days also it can get possible. But so they claim this, okay? They say like 310 is their branding of this loan products. 3 minutes to apply, because you have submit some documents, information, as you say. Application process will take 3 minutes to spend. 1 second to decide. 3 minutes you take to apply. Or the bank agent, 1 second to decide. And 0 human touch. You don't have to interact with anybody or anything. You interact with the agent and apply in 3 minutes. In a second, the relation you done, you will get, by the time you complete, you get an email saying that your loan is approved, visited. Done. Again, agents, right? So this is how agents are changing the traditional human in the loop workflows in many places and making that impact and enhancing and creating value. So if you look at all of these, essentially makes the world move faster. And that is the real impact all of this create. And given you're all from software background, the key thing for you is the world is moving away from applications to agents. Are you ready for it? Is the question you need to answer. If you're not ready, think through and be ready. In the interest of time, I'll skip a few things. So this is another example. We'll probably skip this. Then comes the last theme, a trend. I'll touch upon, which is called AGA. Any idea what is AGA? So as we talked about, when we talked about AI, you all talked about ChatGPT, Gemini, Alexa, all of them, right? If you look at all of them, where does the processing decision making happen? Cloud. When you type something, it goes to ChatGPT server, it does a whole bunch of processing, fetches information, and the response comes back to you. This is the traditional AI deployment which was in existence. But that's changing very, very fast and changing in a different direction. A lot of this processing and decision making is required locally for a variety of reasons. One, you don't want to have so much of data go from here to the cloud, the privacy, security reasons you do not want. Two, many times you need the real-time quick decision making locally. 3, security. I don't want many cases and applications that I don't want to go. So, AI processing moves to cloud, moves from cloud to local environment, which is called edge devices, closer to where the data originates, closer to where the query originates, right? This is another broad theme. Now, for example, we all use ChatGPT, right? Do you know what is the energy consumption by OpenAI ChatGPT servers per day? So they consume around 600 to 700 gigawatt hours per day, okay? Which you can say like is the energy consumption by a couple of cities of Mysuru. Right? Imagine servers consuming so much of power and energy. Now that's all going to change, and that is started and moving into like local things. You have used Alexa, right? But there are also nowadays, even in Alexa, you have these compilations. There are certain things which you can do locally without actually taking your voice command and information to the cloud. You can do local processing. There is an offline mode available, and this is more popularly seen today in the newer cars. If you use cars, many of the cars have voice commands. Many of you have seen, right? they all do not use cloud for processing. The processing happens inside the car. That is what it is, A in edge. It happens locally. Similarly, surveillance cameras, right? Uh, so we talked about vision and image analysis and all of that. This is a big part of the AI. Now that's also happening in the device, in the camera. See earlier, you have like a camera installed, it just keeps monitoring, recording all the information. Now video files are sent somewhere to the cloud, it does the processing and all of that. Now, the drawbacks of that is there is so much of data which has to be transferred. When you have data transfer, you look at the cost and all of this. Now, typically, if you look at like this surveillance camera installed in like the entry of this building in the night, there is no movement, there is no activity. What is the point in having so much of data being recorded and sent? So the camera has an edge AI module which assesses. As long as there is no activity, it will not send any data. If it identifies a suspicious activity, it will only send that data for more detailed processing. So the amount of data traffic what you use significantly comes down, reduces cost, reduces energy consumption, and a lot of that, rather than taking all the data and processing all the data. So that's again an example of edge AI. So we will see this a lot. ADAS, have you heard this term? ADAS? Yes, no? What is it? What is it? Sorry? Lane-based driving. So ADAS stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. So the highest level of that is called autonomous driving, without the driver car right on itself. Today, if you look at even in Indian market, we have cars which are like ADAS has 5 levels. Okay? Level 1 is very basic. It monitors and gives some warning. It doesn't take any action. Level 2 assists the driver takes certain actions. Okay? And then you have level 3, 4, level 5 is autonomous. Fully, we are not there at level 5, but today we have cars which are between level 2 and level 3 in Indian market. Okay. If you're interested, go and search like Tata Safari ADAS test in YouTube. You will get video of how it works. It does things like you sit in the car, you have something called adaptive cruise control. So I said I want to drive my car at a speed of 50 km per hour. Okay, I don't have to press accelerator, brake, anything. It will drive my car at 50 km per hour as long as the road is free. If a vehicle in front of me stops, it will slow down and stop the car. And the vehicle in front of me starts moving, it will start moving. Right? And then like if you are driving in like a Bangalore-Mysuru kind of expressway, you have to ensure that you are in the lane. Right? So it has something called lane keep assist function. You just turn the on, the camera it monitors the lane lines. And if the car drifts away from the lane, it will slightly give a tilt to the steering, get the car into the lane, and continues to drive at the center of the lane. Right? These are all edge AI. All of this processing of what it does is it actually takes camera information, video information, it takes information from radar, and it fetches certain other information from web and other things, maps. And using all of this, it takes decisions, it gives instructions to your accelerator, brake, steering, all of them, and keeps the car driving. We have that. Today we have that. The first time I used something like this was around 3 years ago in US. Right? Today we have that very much in India, and we have a lot of cars doing that. Again, an example of edge AI. Now, why this is important and relevant is, if you are an electronics engineer, you need that very compact processing modules to be built which can sit inside small devices like this, not in the cloud. If you are a software developer, you need to make your models and programs much more compact, smaller, not so power hungry, to make it work in an edge AI application. What runs in a cloud application cannot run in an edge application because you don't have that much of processing power, energy, and all of that. Like what I said, right? ChatGPT can afford to spend 600 kilowatt energy every day. But you can't inside like smaller devices like that. So that's the third and most prominent trend. We will see a lot of edge AI adoption, which is very much there already today. We can see that in many places. So give you some other examples on edge AI. So there are this in agriculture, right? In agriculture, monitoring the farm, monitoring the crops, livestock monitoring, all of them is also done with edge AI today. The drones have a AI model which takes camera image, does assessment. Again, similar thing to like how I said in the surveillance camera application. It does the first level of assessment and it identifies any abnormalities. It sends the necessary information to some AI intervention for further investigation. Otherwise, the first level of monitoring and all done by this. So this is the again the edge AI thing. Any of you know Amazon Go? Have you heard about this? Yes, no? If you're not, next time instead of watching a YouTube short, go and search Amazon Go, US store, video. You'll find like a few minutes video. Okay, what it is Amazon runs shops like our Reliance Fresh, other things. Amazon also has Amazon Fresh stores. There you will find the video in YouTube. The speciality of the store is there are no employees in the store. There is no cashier in the store. I can walk in with my mobile. I registered. The moment I scan my mobile and get in, it's no rules inside. And then it gives the basket. I go and pick whatever I want, put it in my basket, and then I walk out. I don't think I don't have to pay. Right? So they track what and all I picked up using vision-based systems and all of that. Right? Just track all of that. By the time I walk out of the store, I will get a message on my credit card saying so much you have built, this much money will be left on the credit card. Done. No queue, no cashier, no billing, nothing. Okay? So it all happens. Right? This is like a combination. If you take both ADAS and Amazon Go, it also relates to another very, very important emerging trend called multimodal AI. Right? Whatever we are talking about mostly on ChatGPT, Gemini, they are all like text-based AI. Or we are talking about vision-based AI, like image analysis. So these are multimodal AI. I am not talking about that topic today, but that's another very, very, very prominent and upcoming field. But in the interest of time, I'm not covering that. I think I've come almost to the end of it. My last slide. Another good example. Traffic signals. Do you think AI can be used here? How? How? Why that? Very good. So there is a thing called adaptive signaling. Any idea it is used anywhere? So there are 60 signals in Bangalore where this is deployed. And as per the Bangalore Traffic Commissioner, the traffic improved around 30% of this. The Bangalore traffic is notorious. Right? But it improved and reduced congestion in Bangalore roads by 30% by deploying it in 60 T junctions. They initially deployed in 40 junctions. What it does is camera-based systems. See, the problem with our signals is it is predetermined. Right? 60 seconds for one way. Now what happens, even if you look at, if you go to the Columbia Asia junction is there, right? Manipal Hospital junction, Ring Road, Bangalore Road junction. If you go there on a Sunday evening, not Sunday evening. So traffic is like this, right? If you're driving towards Bangalore on a Sunday evening, it's a nightmare. So much of traffic goes in the direction. But the same road on a Friday evening will be empty, and you will see the other side will be full of traffic. Okay. Now what this does is simply dynamically it allocates, it looks which way traffic is more, gives more time for that direction, and gives less time. Instead of giving 60, 60, 60 to auto direction, it dynamically adjusts it based on that. And it makes so much of impact. AJA. Again, AJA. All the decision making happens on the signal with a small board which is sitting inside the signal. Nothing else. So AJA is something which will solve a lot of real world problems closer to the humans sitting next to it and do it. That's the other broad trend we will see. Okay. That's all I have. With that, I will close it. If there are any questions, I will take. If not, I will also leave some information. I think I talked about this productivity tools and other things. If you want, you can go to, there is a website called, like Wikipedia, there is something called Futurepedia. Okay, you can note down that, you can search that. Futurepedia is like a marketplace for AI tools. So it will have a lot of tools, let's say like ChatGPT. Now I want to make presentations. I want to create an image. If you go there, you will find like a tool to which you give an instruction to create an image. Now I want some productivity tools. So it has like probably several hundreds to close to 1,000 tools, AI-based tools, which can make impact in your day-to-day life and activities. Whatever you want to do, you can go and look at there. You will find some good examples which are there. Okay, that's all I had. If there are any questions, we can spend a few minutes time. Thank you.